Introduction. It would stand at the foot of my bed and stare at me as I lay trying to sleep. Fear and sheer terror would grip every muscle and bone I had. It was at least 7 feet tall, dark, and evil. It wore a pitch-black cape that completely covered its body from head to toe. I would shrivel under my blankets and pray for it to go away. I did not know what it was other than feeling it was some evil being straight from hell, and I certainly did not know what it wanted. Night terrors are real. I continued to be haunted throughout childhood of this evil, demonic being scaring me at night. Often I would also see other shorter, creepy, black shadows move throughout the room whenever I was trying to sleep. I was too scared to move or even breathe for that matter. Going to sleep for me would mean to close my eyes and keep them closed just so I did not have to look at them. However, I could always feel their presence when they were around. I developed a keen sense to know when demonic beings were around me even if I could not see them, and yet I did not know how to get away from them or what to do about it. I would just pray for the Most High to protect me. Later in life, I would learn, as an adult, that the Tall One was one of Lucifer's generals sent to kill me. I did not know who they were, but these beings knew who I was. From the time I was born, Lucifer knew I had a prophetic calling on my life, and that as an adult, I would grow up to become one of his archenemies. I would learn, as an adult, how to expose, attack, and tear down his strongholds that he would create to control and destroy mankind. To prevent this from happening, he had assigned one of his top-ranking generals to kill me. Lucifer is on a mission to control the world as the Antichrist. I am on a mission to make it as miserable as possible for him. I despise him. My mission started by being born to a God-fearing family in Cleveland, Ohio, during the winter of 1965. From my earliest childhood memories, I cannot remember a time when I did not know who Jesus was. I have loved him since I can remember. When I was 2 years old, I was proclaiming his name. I would become reborn in him at the age of 5. My life has been a journey from wondering how to become closer to him, to learning and building that close relationship that no one could ever replace. My true love in life was, and has always been, God himself. As time passed, I was enrolled in private Christian schools and had attended church almost every Sunday during the 18 years I lived with my parents. But as I was growing up through churchianity, or simply the system of religion, I always felt there was something missing. I was miserable, and I could not figure out why. Although I loved Jesus, I hated religion. There was just something wrong with the whole thing, and I could not put my finger on it at the time. Out of 100,000 plus denominations, by luck, I had landed in the denomination that had everything right, and everyone else was wrong. Yes, I am being sarcastic. By the age of 12, I had read the Bible from front to back, being partial to the book of Revelation. Not fully understanding much of the book, the beast rising out of the sea with 7 heads and 10 horns fascinated me. By the age of 18, I had probably read the Bible more times than most pastors, and had repeatedly read several of the Old and New Testament books. I became an avid student of Bible prophecy. I could not get enough of hearing about end-time events, the arrival of the Antichrist, and ultimately, the second coming of Jesus Christ. It was also during those early preteen years that I had read my first Bible prophecy book, which I had taken off my dad's bookshelf. Reading Hal Lindsey's late great Planet Earth not only changed my life, but seemed to give me direction. I identified with it, and it seemed to define who I was, and who I would later become. As I read the pages of end-time events, I knew I would be involved in these events, and that I would be a warrior in the last days for the Most High God. Bible prophecy has always had a strong hold over my life. I cannot escape it. I was born for these last days. I was born to be a warrior. For this reason, Lucifer had targeted me as a child for death. He had sent his forces to intimidate me and keep me from discovering my relationship with Yahweh, or from achieving what I was destined to become. He didn't succeed then, and he still hasn't. and every day I lived, I used to fight against him and the kingdom he is trying to establish here in some way. From the first time I had heard about the second coming of Jesus Christ, I was hooked. That is all I cared to hear about. That is all I wanted to hear about. Nothing else about religion interested me much. I had seen enough and experienced enough of it daily to know religion itself was hypocritical. Religion was a road paved with good intentions, but rarely traveled correctly by anyone on it. Most people in the churches just seemed pretentious and fake and more centered around man, materialism, and gossip circles than God himself. And to question theology and beliefs was almost blasphemous to them. By typical Churchianity standards, I was certainly going to go to hell if I didn't believe everything the church taught, and the way they taught it. I also learned at a young age that other people didn't experience quite the same things as I did. Looking back, I can now see that I was just more in tune with the spiritual world than anyone else I knew. Of course, as a child, you wouldn't know what that was. So I learned to keep things to myself and not talk about the things that scared me or the monsters I saw or felt near me. When I was in college, I didn't notice them much, if at all. I do not know if they went away or if I was just too busy to notice. It seems back then, I never just went to bed. I simply passed out from exhaustion. It was not too long after that when I realized they were back. And it was then that I finally just had enough of them. It was time to find out who they were and why they were stalking me. I was married, unemployed, had my first child, and was finally staring reality in the face. It was time to confront who these demonic beings were and what they wanted with me. I embarked on an intense research over the next 5 years into spiritual warfare, hell, demons, Satan, and continued into my favorite areas of end-time events and last days prophecies. I studied the deception in the churches, UFOs, government black operations, the New World Order, and much, much more. I went into many different areas and began to learn that the faces of our government and military were much different from their backsides. At the same time, I started to research and learn about spiritual warfare, something the churches just seem to ignore. I learned about hell and demons and how to fight against these forces. I went to war against the general and his forces assigned to me, and I haven't seen them since. We have power in the name of Jesus to cast demonic beings into the abyss, and once I learned that, it became quite an easy task to just kick anything evil around me into the abyss. As a result, I began to pray daily that the Lord would show and teach me what He wanted me to learn and know. I would ask Him to teach me the truth in all things and to reveal the mysteries of His kingdom to me, and I still pray this almost daily. My research would culminate over the years into an enormous journey of unraveling conspiracies and lies in our government and churches. Since in 1994 I would begin to have visions from God and did not recognize what they were. It would take me a long time to realize that the strange things I were seeing were visions from the Lord Himself. From this experience, I learned that it takes the heart of a truth seeker to really get to know Yahweh. As you start abandoning and letting go of preconceived ideas and beliefs, and realize all the error of being spoon-fed by dogma and religion, only then can He teach you, but not until you stop telling Him what the truth is with your words and your actions. And that is what I had to learn, to let everything go, and let Him teach me from the ground up. I had to build my foundation just in Him, and on Him, and not from my own self-obtained knowledge, or what man had taught me. He then became, and still is, my main source for information. If I want to know something, I ask Him. I seek Him direct for the answer. I get up every day and I ask Him to teach me the truth in all things, and to reveal the mysteries of His kingdom to me. I ask Him to lead and guide my thoughts. I have learned what it truly means to be walking in His Spirit. Being in His Spirit does not mean speaking in gibberish that is not from Him. It means becoming one with Him in spirit, by seeking Him, and walking with Him, and learning how to hear His voice, and recognize His leading, and how He works. When you learn who He is, you learn what He is not, allowing the deceptions around you to be magnified and exposed for what they are. You can see them, recognize them, and know what is, or is not of Him. There is nothing special about me, I just love Him, and I am committed to Him. As He continued over the years to give me visions and prophecies, and reveal future events to me, I began to create websites revealing the information I learned through Him, and from His leading. Today I have 12 websites on the internet, and a blogger, and, as the days come to a close, I am busy fulfilling my calling and destiny in Him. I have worked hard building and maintaining websites over the years to educate and inform His people to what has gone on, is going on, or what is coming, and I won't stop until He says it is time to. And as my enemies can attest, I cannot be intimidated either. I have received several death threats over the years, and have posted some of them on my websites out of amusement. Mostly, I ignore them. I do not fear Lucifer, and certainly, I do not fear man. The Lord is my strength. In 2001, I was led by the Lord to buy a Bible codes program and learn how to search for and analyze codes. I had no idea what I was doing, and it was very complicated to learn. There were many times I wanted to just give up, but He would keep me at it, and He began to show me how to operate the program, how to look up terms, and how to analyze what I was finding. In essence, He basically taught me how to decode the Bible Himself. Over the years, God has revealed to me through the codes His records and the plans of mankind. I have learned how to use the codes to unravel daily events and find the truth in them about what is really happening. And in the process, expose the media and government lies that are being told to the public. I have also learned how to expose the events that are planned for the future by Lucifer, including the organizations, governments, and secret societies working to bring him into power. One thing is certain, the government lies and uses the media as a mere tool for their deceit. And it has been my experience that being an accurate decoder makes a person a prime target of their surveillance. In 2002, the Lord specifically led me into what I have termed the alien agenda, and has revealed much information to me about the coming UFO and alien invasion to America and our Earth. He has shown, and continues to show me, different truths being taken to spearhead the arrival of end-time events, and what they really are, as opposed to what the churches and prophecy gurus teach. The Lord has shown me, and led me to expose the plans of those who are involved in the various groups within governments, which are unified around the world, and competing against one another to bring Satan to power as the Antichrist. It has become evident you will not learn the truth in the churches today. The cycle of error and deception has continued through every age since Constantine and the Council of Nicaea in 325 AD. Most churches today are graveyards for the spiritually dead. It is the churches that are the whores of Babylon, and it is America who is modern-day Babylon. Furthermore, most people are clueless concerning what will really happen in the last days, and even regarding Yahweh Himself. They do not understand how to have a real relationship with Him, because they have allowed their churches to take the place of Him, and they simply do not know how to seek Him. They think reading the Bible and praying is all they need to do. And in this book, I am going to open your eyes as to how you can have a more intimate relationship with Him. Jesus said, the last days would be as the days of Noah. The problem is that most churches do not teach, nor realize what those days were really like. It was an alien agenda then, and it is the same one now, but I am going to reveal what the Lord has shown me, and what is really going on behind the scenes in our world today. If you believe our country is one nation under God, prepare to be shocked. The aliens from the past have hidden themselves from the public view. Nevertheless, they are ready to come back into dominance in these last days as the armies of the Antichrist. Eventually a full-blown invasion will occur, and it is coming sooner than you think. The rise of the Antichrist is around the corner. Have the governments and the churches of the world been secretly working together to bring him to power? Have they worked together to suppress and silence prophets of old such as Enoch, so those today would not recognize the aliens for who they are? When you are done reading this book, your eyes will be opened to the truth that the Lord has revealed to me.